up there, and been skiing in Italy, in mountains there, and I like that too.
Is that downhill skiing or cross country?
No, it's slalom. Downhill. No, downhills, yes.
Okay.
And my teacher in Italy told me, Knud, he was German, Knud, kein Angst zu haben, nur laufen lassen. You don't be afraid, just let it go.
Just let it go.
Yeah. And it was easier for him to tell me to do it. I liked it.
Yes, yes. And did you learn how to let it go?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, when I came to the point of no return, I said, well, that's it.
Okay.
So get the best out of it.
Okay. Yeah, very good. And so is there some particular client that you want to speak about here in this conversation?
Several clients, but the same problem is problems about father figures.
Yes, yes.
And when they talk about their problems with their fathers,
yes.
I remember my own problems with my father.
Okay.
And then it's who is who.
Yeah, who's who. Yeah.
And sometimes I use things I have worked through myself in the therapy, but other times I'm uncertain. Is it relevant? Is it good enough or something like that? Yeah. Am I treating my own problem in the client, or I'm helping him?
Yes.
Now, that's a problem. So, yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it's most about my father, how to do therapy, sitting beside him.
Could you say something about, if it's all right, something about the kind of issues that get in the way in relation to your father? What sorts of reactions? What sort of father was he? Can I ask that? Is it okay?
Yes, I was in opposition to him because he beat my sisters, and I couldn't stand that.
I see.
And he had a stick. He beat them, and then when I was 14, I took his stick and broke it and hung it on the wall. So next morning he saw it, and then he started doing that. But I think it was a hard thing to do because I loved him.
Yes.
But I couldn't stand his way of treating my sisters.
Yes. Yes, it's a dilemma to have two such strong emotions that are contrary. You loved him, but you couldn't stand what he was doing.
You know, it has been difficult.
Yes.
I think I have reached a little bit forward now, so it's not so overwhelming as it has been, but I have been fighting with it for many years.
Yes. Is he still alive?
No, but in a way he is. But
yes. But bodily he's not.
Yes. As you know, I'm in a tent down there. There was a big tree, and in December last year we had an orkan, a stormy weather, where all the trees fall. And my tent, I didn't know it was going to be storm.
Yes.
So when I came down late in the afternoon, I saw it was so windy that it was half down on the ground. And I was talking with myself, I've chosen that part of this area to sleep in. And do you trust the tree? I didn't know how stormy it would be.
Yes.
But I look at it, it looked, well, it's grounded enough, and wow, maybe or maybe not, but decided to let it stay there. And going to sleep, I had to decide to myself, are you ready to give, yes, for instance, didn't thought that, but I said now. And I did, okay, yes, that's okay with me, to be in the world with a tree, and the risk it's going to knock me down.
Yes.
And then I fell asleep, and it was okay.
Yes.
And to lay down there and feeling the ground, 5 centimeter, you know, and listening to the windy and the branches and so on. Something I listen to now, it's a conversation in a way, on a non-verbal level.
Yes.
Maybe I was not, because the birds and so on. So, well, now I could go to church. Yes.
And is there anything else that you might want to say before you go into some hypnosis now?
Well, I don't know what it is, but the feeling
Yes.
of being here with you is great.
Yes. Yes. You don't know what that feeling is, but it's a strong feeling. Yes.
Or maybe not, I don't know. It is.
There's something to say. I was speaking with Greta just a moment ago, and we were speaking about the fact that when I was talking with her, I had a sense of her strength and her straightness, and like she was just, when you speak with her, there's no pretense, it's just that. And she said that she thought that I may have been somehow calling that up because she felt that I was something like that. That there was something in me that I was seeing in her. And there could be some kind of muddle there about whether I'm seeing myself in her or she's seeing herself in me, or who's reflecting what. Like that. There's a muddle there, but there's something, I felt comforted by that. Some kind of connection. And I feel the same with you, that sometimes I find it hard to understand what you're saying.
Wow.
But I don't have any difficulty understanding who you are, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And there's a strong feeling there that I feel in relation to you. And I'm not sure whether it feels to me that you remind me of my father. He was a very loving man.
Oh, yeah.
But to an outside observer, a lot of people thought he was very weak. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He never swore, never was aggressive. He was in the First World War. If he were alive, he'd be 103. He's born a long time ago. And it always puzzled me how he could be such a peaceful man and how he could have been in a war. He never spoke about it. But one time I asked him, how could you do those things? And I said, how could you actually fire a gun, shoot at people? He was a Scot. And Scots have got a funny way of speaking. And he said, well, he didn't have to shoot at people. So I think he spent the whole time shooting up in the air. But there was also something in him that I saw, that experience touched him in some way, that he had seen a broader view of life. And I've noticed that people who have experienced some pain, some suffering, who've been touched by something, that does something to open their viewing. But at the same time as sitting with you and wondering, are you reminding me of my father? I'm also wondering if you're reminding me of one of my sons. Because I have a son who looks very like you. And his name, I don't know if a Danish person could pronounce his name. His name is Hugh. But not he. It's Hugh. And as a child, it was always difficult to understand. Some people didn't know how to say Hugh. They were saying who and foo, different names. And as you are sitting with me now, I'm wondering if you can begin to notice something different in your experience.
More present.
More pleasant. Yeah.
Present and pleasant.
It is pleasant to be present.
Yes.
Because that present is a gift. That is a pleasant gift. And as you sit now with me, and I sit with you, and it is pleasant to be present, you can't be certain of what I'm going to say. It may be that I might say something unkind. It's possible. It may be that I could say something hurtful without meaning to. It's possible. I have no intention of doing that. But it's always a possibility. Just as it's possible that you might say something to me that would hurt me or offend me without you intending to. And when you are skiing, and the skiing instructor said, show me words to you. But I don't need to understand or speak. But you could understand without knowing how to do something about that. When he said to let go, you can be wondering, let go of what? And also it's easy for him to let go. But you came to a point and you did let go. And I'm wondering if you may be reaching that point now, where you might be ready to let go of something. Maybe letting go of the need to keep your eyes open. It may be the letting go of the need to listen to me. need to do anything in particular? Just as when you broke that stick, your father let go of something. And in breaking that stick, it can be a very loving break. That if you were to be your father's skiing instructor, and if you were able to say to him, let go, that you weren't his instructor until you got to that age, because he didn't let you. Until you were able and in breaking that stick, you could also break the problem. And I wonder if that feeling of letting go is something that you felt when you broke that stick. And I'm not sure if there was a relief at that time or not. Do you remember the feeling when you broke the stick? Was there some relief?
Was it? And I knew I was on my own.
You knew that you were on your own?
Yeah.
Yes. Did it feel that that was a separation from your father?
Felt that I was giving him in a way.
That you were I wonder if I can offer you another way of looking at that. Just as when you were about to jump out of that plane, with the parachute, and you felt that that might kill you, that when you did jump out, actually you could fly. Yeah. But just at the time of jumping, I could imagine that it could have felt as if you were jumping into your own death, not into flying. Is that, am I understanding you right? That's what happened with your parachute? Maybe, not sure.
I'm using the time once and then as good as possible.
Yeah. Well, that's all we can ever do, as good as possible. As human beings, we can never be perfect. We can only do as good as possible. Just as that 15-year-old boy, 15, 16, 15, 15-year-old boy was doing as good as possible. Just as that 15-year-old boy's father was doing as good as possible.
It's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm. That's what?
It's hard to understand.
It's hard to understand, yes. It is hard. It was as if he was speaking a different language.
Pardon me?
It was as if he was speaking a different language. One that had a stick in it, one that had had damage in it. And you didn't have that language. It didn't make sense to you. But you mentioned a Swedish word before.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know Swedish. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But it makes sense to you because you know that language. And I'm just wondering if you could imagine, just imagine that maybe when you broke that stick, you did not kill your father. You actually gave him life. I don't know that you did. I can't know. But I can invite you to wonder if maybe I had a client who had had sex with his daughters. He was drunk at the time, confused at the time, and was very, very remorseful for what he'd done. One of his daughters got angry with him, and years after the problem had stopped, reported it to the police, and he was taken to court. And I went to court on his behalf and said that I would be very happy for that man to be left in charge of my children. Because I was. I trusted him. He had learned something. And after that court case, he didn't go to jail, but he had to do some community service. And he told me that that court case freed him. He felt such a lot of relief. Because it was as if something that had been there had been broken. There was a relief for him. And also in that storm, did you say it was last year?
No.
When that tree broke, partly broke, there was something there that could have killed you. But as a result of that, last night and the night before, you could have a feeling of life. Not certainty, but life. That tree last night could have fallen on you, the night before could have fallen on you, but it didn't. And just as you can leave anything unwanted in the corner,
I remember that.
so you can bring anything you want from that tree last night and the night before. And there could be something about that tree that you can in some way connect with other trees, and that you can in some way be comforted by. And you can also understand in your way what I mean, that tree last night and the night before is evidence of your Father's love and your connection with Him. And I don't know how you can make that connection. But it may be a little bit like walking in the mountains in Norway. When you get high in those mountains, you can see so far, so many things that you couldn't see if you were not on the mountain.
I see.
And there can be something about that tree that can be in another corner of your room. And you can get that from that corner anytime you want. And in the same way that the skiing instructor allowed you to learn to let go and ski so that you now love skiing. I'm wondering if you would allow me to be a different kind of instructor. And to say, whatever way you can hear, you can let go of that problem. Just let it go. So then when you let go of what you let go of skiing, you were able to do exactly what you needed to do. And you didn't get a muddle between your left leg and your right leg and up and down and this and that. You just skied. And so as you can ski the varying slopes of therapy, you can let go into that skiing, because therapy is skiing. Sometimes you are the skier and the client is the snow. Sometimes you are the snow and the client is the... But you know how to ski and you love it. And I'm wondering what's happening for you now, Knud. Skiing. And are you loving that skiing? And where is your father? When you're skiing, where is your father?
Gone with the wind.
That was a very long film.
Yeah. Snowy well.
And there was a very famous line from Gone with the Wind. Do you know the film?
Yeah.
when Scarlett O'Hara eventually comes round to recognise how important Red was. And Red says to her, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." He was free. And I don't, in my view, don't think he ever stopped loving her. That's my view.
Never stop.
Didn't stop loving her. I think Red Butler continued to love Scarlett O'Hara.
Yeah.
In my view. But he was able to let her go. Give her freedom.
I think he's skiing in a hard place.
Is he having a good time?
I think so.
He's gone to the big ski mountain in the sky.
Yeah, the sky after what's called.
And I wonder if in his skiing he might want to have a stick to lean on or to use as a stock. Is it stock word that's used? Is it stock? A stick? Stock? Sticks and the stacks and the stocks and the stooks and the... Do you have stooks here? Like a hay that's stacked in a stook?
Sometimes I don't understand you.
No, well there you go. I knew that we had a lot in common. And we can laugh about this. And at the same time recognise how very important it is and not to make light of it. But even as we laugh, it can somehow help something to settle. And does that seem like a place to leave this conversation, or does that seem like there's more? Or?
You've still got your ski on.
Still got my skier. I'm an expert skier. Expert. I spent 3 days on the snow. I am an expert. And how are you feeling now? Different from when you came to sit in that chair?
A little bit sorrowful.
Yeah. Yes. Isn't that
We
beautiful?
could have many times together.
Yes.
But now we have it because in eternity no time is present.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe I'm not so frightened to jump.
Yes. And even though he might be skiing in a different place, he's not that far away. No. Maybe as close as a tree. And how is that going to help you with your clients?
Well, I'll ask my father what he's thinking
Okay.
about that. Have a conversation with him. I don't know if he's a therapist or not, but
Yeah.
we could learn something from each other, I think.
Yeah, so 3.5 years ago, it was actually on the 5th of January in 1997. I was holidaying with my family near an ocean in the south of Australia. And I sought out a cemetery.
Yeah.
And I looked around that cemetery until I found a grave that looked friendly. And I went and sat on that grave. And I looked out to the Southern Ocean. And the 5th of January 1997 was the 100th anniversary of my father's birthday. And as I looked out over the Southern Ocean, I recalled that he had travelled from England, from Scotland, at the age of 14 or 15, on a boat, and would have passed that piece of land and would have maybe even looked at the place where I was sitting. And I sat on that grave and I had a silent conversation with him. I told him about some worries I had. I told him about some concerns I had. And I just waited, and it was not his ghost, but it was as if I had the answers. They were very simple, and they were very helpful. Yeah. And we can't really ever presume to understand another person. And Albert was telling me at breakfast that there are some words in Danish and Sweden that mean the opposite. And I can't remember the word. It was something like jolly, one that meant, in Danish, meant very, very kind of light and friendly. And in Swedish means getting ready to fight with someone.
Ready to
Fight.
Oh,
Ready
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the word is, but
Jolly. English word, rolig.
Rolly, not jolly. Rolly. So different languages have different. We can't understand. We shouldn't presume to understand, but we can always learn from each other. I'm willing to speak about this with me, as a stranger, as a foreigner, and to speak about this issue here. I appreciate it very much.
There are some things human-like over you.
Some things
Human-like. Like a human, yeah.
human,
You're like a human, yeah.
like a human, yeah.
Your spirit,
Kind
yeah.
of, yeah.
I think you are.
Sort of.
Yeah, I see it now.
Now you see. What happens when you put your glasses on?
Present and see you.
Could you try something? Put them on like this.
You want to see my kind of world?
Oh my God. Your world is very wrong. No wonder you had a problem with your father with glasses like that. I'd have a problem with my father if I saw him like that too. Actually, when you put the glasses on, you can start to see something. Yeah. Without them, you can't see. It's when you put them on that you can see. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
taking them off, looking inside, and put them on unpleasant.
Well, yeah, now we can see each other.
Yeah.
Without them, we don't know who we're with. We're with some kind of, I don't know what. So it's nice to have the right glasses, yes? Then you can see more pleasantly. What is it about me that reminds you of your father?
I really don't know, but I got a chance to have talked with you about this problem, and I took it and for it.
You didn't know, but my wife always says to me, "Why do you always hit people?" I'm always, why do you always hit people? She says to me. I don't know why. So you found a violent father figure to work with.
But we didn't kill each other,
We didn't. On the contrary.
so we worked together.
Yeah.
Having place.
Having played.
Du hade vampyrer och vad det got the other.
Exactly. But you've got a bit of my world now, and I've got a bit of your world. So there's enough to share and learn.
So you see how I see.
Well, actually, I would say I see how you don't see. Because when you have your glasses on, I have my glasses on, now I see what you see. But when I put your glasses on, I see what you don't see. But we can share that too.
Yes, that's right.
Is that a place that we could start?